Sowing to grow our own, and this week again we are direct sowing outside and we are looking at our root veg and our carrots. For many people who don't grow their own, the idea of growing carrots seems to be a little bit of a waste of time, particularly if we think about just how cheap some supermarkets are actually selling them for. However, they're really good in terms of being able to get a nice different varieties, and also the flavour and the taste of growing your own carrots is absolutely phenomenal. You will not get that flavour in a supermarket. Now, the beauty of carrots is that you can actually grow them in something like a balcony planter or a raised bed, so you don't need to have a huge garden or an allotment in order to do it, or of course you can actually plant them outside. Now, the beauty of actually being able to grow something in something like a raised container with carrots is because of something called carrot root fly. Now, this is something which will actually destroy your carrots as they are growing, and you have to take a number of precautions. Now, one of those is that carrot root fly are actually exceptionally lazy and they don't like to go above about 3 foot, so this planter is ideal. All I've done, because it's quite a shallow box, is just put some peat-free compost in here. With my larger raised bed just behind me, I have actually filled the bottom with a whole load of different vegetation which is going to rot down, and then on top I've actually put my peat-free compost, and what's going to happen is as all that material underneath rots down, it's actually going to generate a little bit of heat, as well as having that height which is going to protect my carrots. Now, very simply, all I'm going to do with this is, just like I would if I was doing this in the ground, is I'm just going to create a little trough with my hands rather than a dibber, and then I'm just going to get my seeds. Be careful if it's a windy day, because otherwise they will fly away, and I'm just going to, with my fingers, pinch like I have some pepper into this little trough that I've actually created. Now, all I need to do after I've done that is just literally cover it over as I would do, pinch it over, tap it down, and then give it a good water. Now, I am going to actually put this lid on this particular balcony planter, and it acts like a great big propagator. Although at this time of year, actually, even though it's really cold still, even though we are actually in May, that temperature isn't actually going to stop our carrots from growing. So that's in our raised beds or in our planters. But as I say, we can be planting them outside, but how are we going to get around those pesky carrot flies? So let's have a look and see what I'm doing down at the lower end of my plot. Now, despite the fact that I am a no-dig gardener, unfortunately this area of my plot I have had to give it a dig over. I was intending to actually turn this into a no-dig area, however, over the last few months with lots and lots of storms, lots and lots of rain, unfortunately this area of my plot did actually get flooded, and that meant that actually all the soil was really compacted, and I've had to aerate the soil in order to make sure there's no nasty bacteria actually in the soil when I want to be planting out edibles, which is what I'm going to be doing. Now, if we think about things like my parsnips, which I sowed in February, they are growing brilliantly, but they're in a different area of the plot, so there's no problem whatsoever. Now, again, very similar to what I've done before, I've already finally raked over this soil, so it is ready for planting up, and I do have really sandy soil even though I did have flooding. Now, if you do have quite clay soil, clay is really rich in its nutrients, however it's quite difficult maybe for some root veggies to actually sort of find their way down and grow really effectively. So what you can do is actually get a mixture of some horticultural sand and your peat-free compost, and actually put those into troughs before you start sowing your carrots. Now, again, all I need to be thinking about is creating a nice line with my dibber in this one, because I do have nice sandy soil and it's not going to actually inhibit the growth of my carrots. And then, just like I did in my raised bed planter, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the seeds and I'm just going to sort of pepper them along these lines. So exactly the same. Once I've actually got my seeds in, I'm then going to just cover over, pat them down and actually water them, although I don't think I really need to water them because we have more rain on the horizon. Now obviously this is not 3 feet high, and therefore carrot root fly could get in here. Now carrot root fly is usually actually already in the soil, and I didn't have carrots in here for about the last 4 or 5 years, so actually they shouldn't be hiding out, but they could easily find my carrots, and the way they find them is by the smell. What you can also do is interplant between your carrots with things like your garlic or your onions, which I already have in the ground and they are already looking amazing. But also leeks, so any part of the allium family. I'm actually going to be putting my leeks next to this carrot bed once they are actually ready. And then I'm also going to be covering over this bed with a fine mesh. So I'm doing everything I can to deter those carrot root flies, because I want a really tasty, gorgeous carrot harvest this year. Carrots, absolutely time to get them in, and don't forget you can also successionally sow them as well.